So, Congressman, what are the two biggest problems right now facing the American people?
Economic stagnation in factory towns. We took a bet on technology and finance. It did great, but we hollowed out manufacturing in this country and left a lot of people without economic security. And the second is the deep division we have in this country, the deep anger between people who represent bluer areas like mine and people who represent red areas.
Okay, let's stay on the economy first. There are plenty of jobs. Anybody who wants to work can get a job in this country. I mean, unemployment's around 3%. So why are you concerned about the workplace?
I'll give you a concrete example. There was a guy, Chauncey. He's in Milwaukee. He was working in Master Lock. The jobs went down to Mexico. He lost his $35 job, lost his home. He actually shook Barack Obama's hand in 2012 when Obama said manufacturing is coming back. He didn't vote in 2024. He stayed at home. And now he's working in a $17 job delivering pills to seniors. So people are in jobs, but they're not in high-paying jobs. They're not in stable jobs. And a lot of communities don't have wealth generation. They're doing a lot of service jobs, but they don't have an industry that's bringing in wealth into their towns.
Now, that's what Trump wants to do. He wants to bring back manufacturing from foreign countries where the companies have gone because the labor is cheaper. He wants to bring those back by instituting these tariffs. You support that?
I support some of them, yes. I support the tariffs on steel. I've supported the tariffs on aluminum. And I even am open to the tariffs on automobiles. I don't think they should be blanket. I don't think they should be on our allies. Here's the problem, Bill. Let's say you're Mary Barra. You're at GM. Now you're thinking, okay, there are these tariffs. Should I go to my board and should I ask for billions of dollars to put up these factories that are going to take 4 or 5 years, especially when you consider the supply chain to be functional? The tariffs aren't going to be enough. You need one bipartisan consensus so the next president just doesn't come in and take them away. Secondly, you need some federal investment, and you need to say if you build it, we're going to buy it. By the way, that's what Trump did with Operation Warp Speed. I give him a lot of credit for Operation Warp Speed.
So you're not, but most of your party are demonizing Trump. They're saying that, he's the devil, he's going to ruin everything. They're not measuring it like you're measuring it, that some of the tariffs have the potential, at least, to be very good for the American people. The extreme people in the Democratic Party get all the attention. There doesn't seem, if you go out on the street, Congressman, you say, who are the moderate Democrats? Nobody knows. I mean, it's all the Ocasio-Cortez, Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren. These are the faces of your party. I think that hurts you.
Well, look, I identify as a progressive. I'll tell you where they tap into something, which is the massive income inequality in the country. We've gone from 53rd in the world in income inequality to 128th. Now, the difference is, I think, to deal with that income inequality, you and I will probably disagree. I think, yes, you need to have higher taxes on the billionaires in my district, but you also need to have economic growth. You also need to build things. And my view is, let's argue with Donald Trump on who is going to be better at actually getting factories, who's going to be better at getting businesses there. And let's give him credit for one thing. He was right about two fundamental things. He was right that we were getting too much of our business going to China and that we had too soft a policy on China. And he was right that people in the Midwest, the heartland, were angry that their jobs had left. And I think the Democratic Party can say, he was right about certain things. And we have a better vision of how we're going to build the future in these communities.
But how much, look, I don't believe that most Americans are jealous of billionaires and they don't think they're oligarchs and they don't think that they've made their money illegally and they don't think Elon Musk is a terrorist who's trying to come and take their home. But the Democratic Party constantly overstates and sells this division between the rich and the poor. You say you're progressive. That's a progressive tenet. You on board with that?
Well, look, I represent probably the place that has the most billionaires in the world. I mean, at the heart of Silicon Valley, I've got $13 trillion of of a market cap. I was the one. I said, look, don't vandalize Tesla and don't cheer for any American company's stock to go down.
No,
Obviously,
I know, but overall, you say you're a progressive, and that's the progressive approach. But the approach is that it's stacked against the working people because of the oligarchs are taking all the money. That's absurd. You know that.
Well, the oligarchy claim, and I think this is on both sides. I'm not saying, but no one should be allowed to put in hundreds of millions of dollars, whether it's Elon Musk or George Soros, into our elections. It should be offensive to American
that's the Supreme Court, though. I mean, come on, let's stay in the real world here. The reason that the Democratic Party has fallen apart is because they have lack of leadership. Kamala Harris, though, you know her, it's the worst candidate I think I've ever seen.
I don't know if she came on your show, but look, here's my view, and I've said this to my party. I said, if someone gets 80 million votes and is elected president twice, we got to think about what are we doing? Why are 80 million Americans voting for him? Look, I grew up in Bucks County, Pennsylvania.
They were voting against her. A lot of those independents she wouldn't even answer a question. And that was the best that the Democratic Party could do? A person who can't answer a question or won't answer a question? I mean, I think you guys need to revamp the whole thing. One more question for you, though. You're an honest man, and we're happy to have you here. The open border was really why the Democrats lost the election. Yes, the economy, but under Biden, the last 2 years, the stock market was good. He could never get the prices under control because he wasn't running the government anyway, as you may know. Biden was not running it. But the open border was embraced by your party. Nobody came up and said, this is insane. And the American people said, no. And that is what killed you guys in the last election. Am I wrong?
We made a mistake on the border. We let in 8 million people, and in the Biden
long mistake. 4 years.
And look, I think that we've got to be for border security, and then we got to tell the story of people like my parents who came to this country to study. They were engineer, teacher. I grew up in Bucks County, Pennsylvania. I was born in Philadelphia, 1976. Let me tell you the biggest thing, Bill, that the party needs to make it clear. This country was founded in 1776, not 1619. This is the greatest country in the world. It gave the son of Indian immigrants like me, someone born of Hindu faith, in a 99% white community in Bucks County, every chance possible. I today represent Silicon Valley. It's an amazing country. We need to celebrate it and have more people have the opportunities I do. And if people believe you're a true patriot, and they can tell that, it's not rhetoric. If they believe you believe in this country, they'll give you a lot of latitude on whether they agree on this policy or that policy.
I agree with that. You should run for president, Congressman. Thank you very much for taking the time.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow me on X. Look for @Bill O'Reilly.